day, I'm Johan Oosthuizen, a legal advisor at SEESA BE Department, currently working in head office in Pretoria.
Hi, I'm Phillip from Merwe, also a legal advisor with SEESA BE head office. Today we will be discussing the various changes in terms of the construction sector scorecard and the requirements of a supplier development champion.
So Phillip, since I recently joined the BE department, there's been a lot of talk regarding changes within the construction sector code. Can you give me some more information, details, and explain the changes?
Certainly, Johan. Since the amended construction codes have been in operation for the past 3 years, certain requirements kick in as of the 1st of December 2020. You will note that these changes only apply to companies, generic companies, as a contractor with a turnover of more than 50 million and as a BEP company with a turnover of more than 25 million. Normally, when a company is rated, they will be rated on 5 elements, being ownership, management and control, skills development, procurement, and socioeconomic development. It's very important that our listeners familiarize themselves with previous recordings dealing with these matters. We are going to talk about the skills development element. Previously, the target for skills development was 2%, based on the leviable amount which they must spend on skills development for Black people. This amount has now been increased to 2.5%. This will kick in from the 1st of December 2020. It's very important to note that even if a company with a previous financial year was advised based on 2%, that this will no longer apply and the 2.5% target must be used.
Yes, Phillip, I fully agree. It is very important to note the date, specifically the 1st of December. If you've got a year-end date of December, then you would have been advised on a 2% rating. But if you haven't done any spending yet before the 1st of December, it's important to note that this spending will need to be done on the target of 2.5% if you wish to get the maximum points.
Johan, in terms of the supplier development, I've noted that a lot of people are still confused with the requirements pertaining thereto. Can you please elaborate on this?
Yes, of course, Phillip. So if we're looking at the normal amended codes, we look at enterprise development as well as supplier development as requirements. But if we look at the construction sector code, we will only be looking at the supplier development element. Now, the requirements when it comes to supplier development is firstly, that you need to have a supplier development agreement in place. Secondly, any contributions made need to be above and beyond just procuring from the beneficiary. And then thirdly, very importantly, you need to appoint a supplier development champion.
You are a supplier development champion?
So a supplier development champion will be the person that's in charge to make sure that all the requirements regarding supplier development are met. Specifically making sure that contributions made are in line with what was stipulated within the supplier development agreement.
What are the requirements for a supplier development champion?
So in order to qualify as a supplier development champion, firstly, you will need to be in a senior management position and you'll need to provide your CV as well. Important to note, something that's overlooked quite frequently is the turnover requirement when it comes to the beneficiary company. So what this means is to qualify as a supplier development beneficiary, your turnover needs to be above 5% of that of the rating company.
Johan, with all these changes coming into play, are there any changes in terms of the ownership element for construction companies?
Phillip, if we're talking about ownership, yes, there will be changes, but these changes will only come into effect from the 4th year, meaning the 1st of December 2021. What these changes will be, if we're looking at the Black ownership percentage, it will go from 32.5% to 35%, and the Black female ownership percentage will go from 10% to 14%.
Johan, it's quite clear that these changes are very important and that not only legal advisors, but companies must make sure that they comply with these changes in order to maintain a good BEE rating going forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Phillip.